Hello, welcome to week 7. This week, we will discuss cognitive skills and several applicable examples that may be familiar to you. Let's dive into cognitive skills.
Watching one ant doesn't seem very fun. However, put a bunch of ants together, and it's amazing what these bugs can do. Ants can build elaborate nests for their colony. They can form bridges to attack prey. How do ants do it? Take a look at the ants individually. Each perform basic routine functions at the micro level. The collective effort of the individual ants result in a much larger impact than what a single ant can do. Like the ants, we can also mirror how we study learning and human cognition. The mental tasks that go on in our brains that help us to remember, to understand, and to learn, we call cognitive skills. We'll share examples and hopefully stimulate your brain with what we have in store. For those who don't like ants, I leave you with this quote from the reading by Anderson: "The whole is no more than the sum of its parts, but it has a lot of parts."
There are four core cognitive skills: perception, gathering information; attention, filtering information; memory, storage and retrieval; and logical reasoning, problem solving.
Now let's dive a little bit deeper into some examples of memory skills. You have your short-term memory, which is the capacity to hold information for a very short period of time, but you can't manipulate it. Think of something like learning a new phone number. Then you have your working memory, which is similar to your short-term memory. It allows you to hold information for a short period of time as well, but it lets you actually manipulate it and do things with it. It's really great for processing and decision making. Then you have your long term memory. These are memories you have for a lifetime. Think of your childhood phone number or address. Next, you have your sequential memory, which allows you to remember things in a particular order. Think days of the week or months of the year. Then you have your visual memory, which allows you to remember things that you've seen. And it functions similarly to your short term and your long term. You can remember things you saw a moment ago, or you can remember things you saw a lifetime ago. And finally, we have our auditory memory, which allows us to process and remember things that we've heard. One of the things that helps us with our memory are mnemonic devices. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and growing up, one of the things we had to learn were the Great Lakes as they surround the state of Michigan. Now, just remembering the five names of these lakes offhand didn't always quite go as planned until my fourth grade teacher gave us a mnemonic device to help us keep the names of the lakes in our memory. So, we were introduced to the lakes, and that put them in our working memory. For the encoding process, she helped us to tie the names of the lakes to a word we were familiar with: homes. From there, we were able to store the names of the lakes in a sequential order: Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior. Now, anytime I need to remember the Great Lakes, I can retrieve this information from my brain by remembering that I always know the way home.
In the context of language learning, educators try to access the individual's cognitive capacity in some ways other than spoken language to improve efficiency. For example, teaching vocabulary can be successfully achieved when learners have the ability to remember words automatically with no or a little effort. At the primary stage, the activities that involve the learner's bodies in learning new vocabularies and phrases have a positive impact on their results. For this aim, instructors use gesture games like charade to teach vocabulary and phrases effectively. In this game, students need to guess words from other friends or teacher who acts without sounds resembling something. This game, as a popular cognitive activity, especially in the context of English as a foreign language, improves the learning of new phrases and reinforces what is learned before. This game is an indicator of the link between our semantic memory and nonverbal communication. For example, when the teacher acts like a baker, the visual sense is tapped and the visual spatial working memory is targeted. In this respect, declarative knowledge is baking a piece of bread, but procedural knowledge is how to bake a piece of bread. Here, the learner's thinking process is developed because they are engaged in activities of higher level thinking that will create a challenging situation, motivating enough to pay more attention to the process and analyze the concepts. Generally speaking, charades as indicators of human cognition may tap intact procedural memories for gestures that may or may not require activation of declarative memories. This depends on the modality of response required of the participants.
Let's talk about another memory game. As an interactive activity, try to remember this long 19-digit number in sequential order. Well, unless you've been gifted with photographic memory, you'll probably need a strategy to remember such a long series of numbers. An effective way to remember such a big number is by chunking, or breaking down larger bits of information into smaller pieces. Our short-term memory is fast but tiny, so when we perceive new inputs such as extra numbers, we tend to overwrite or forget old information to make space for new information. This is where chunking is an effective tool to help us remember long numbers such as credit card numbers, bank account numbers, or telephone numbers. Once a chunk is created, you can use regular practice to move these chunks from working memory towards your long-term memory by connecting information with existing experiences. In the case of our long digit number, the first 12 digits are all Atlanta area codes, 770, 404, 678, and 470. And then the last 7 digits, 867, 5309, is the name of a song from an 80s band called Tommy Two-Tone. So why is studying cognitive skills important? We have several examples that will tie into what we've learned this week. Technology development. Increased cognitive capacity helps creators design and create technology to help solve simple and complex problems.
Cognitive skills are vital to overall development and include some of the brain's core functions, such as thinking, learning, retaining information, and reasoning. As we get older, our brain's ability to adapt to change decreases, making the first few years of a child's life and cognitive development very critical. It is important to consider not only what children are thinking and learning, but also how they are thinking and learning. Cognitive development provides children with the ability to pay attention to and make sense of the world around them. Cognitive development includes a child's working memory, attention, as well as a child's ability to manage and respond to the experiences and information they encounter on a daily basis. Some great ways to promote cognitive skill development include helping children to stay focused and attentive by limiting distractions and interruptions, asking the child about their activities for the day, or sparking their curiosity by presenting new materials in a new way.
Another important aspect that I will share is from a personal one. My stepfather is a retired disabled veteran, and he's been diagnosed with PTSD and Alzheimer's. He has a meeting twice every week with a psychologist that helps him maintain his cognitive development by playing games such as brain games and also listening to music and other cognitive development games.
Discussion prompts. Which cognitive skills do you want to improve for yourself based on your natural inclinations, interests, and motor skills? Have you ever been in a situation or place where you had to quickly learn and use a foreign language? Based on what you've learned in this lesson, what skills helped you be successful in this process?